Hello all, this is James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade, and I'm back here with one of my favorite new games, The Political Process. But before we jump into that, I'd like to talk about maybe a political theme that kind of, well, goes with the time of year we're in. I want to talk about Thanksgiving a little bit. So, I stumbled across a few videos online where people were calling Thanksgiving a racist holiday. And I really have to shake my head at that thought process. So, I just want to give some people some food for thought to ponder while they're pondering such silly stuff as Thanksgiving being a racist holiday. Now, maybe you're educated. Maybe you have some idea how Thanksgiving came into being. Thanksgiving is a holiday that was created by Abraham Lincoln after the Emancipation Proclamation. It was a holiday that Abraham Lincoln, the person who ended slavery, it was a holiday he wanted to use to bring Americans together. All Americans, black, white, Indian, Native American. Actually, I can say Indian because I am Native American. I am 1/8 Native American, so if I want to call myself Indian, I will. But that's a different topic. So, the point in time that Abraham Lincoln wanted to recognize was a specific day in history. A very specific day in history. Not whatever transpired after it, but that specific day. And on that specific day, Native Americans and us evil white people from Europe who came over, the Pilgrims, they broke bread together. And they ate and they gave thanks. Actually, Thanksgiving was like a week-long event for them. It took like an entire week. The Native Americans came with several deer and other things and gave gifts, etc., etc. It was a time of celebrating bounty. But now, uneducated people want to point at Thanksgiving as being this great, horrible, the beginning of this great, horrible tragedy where the white people came to North America and wiped out the indigenous people. And this thought process is really, it's a bizarre thought process. And I want to give you some reasons as to why this is a bizarre thought process. And those reasons is A, whites didn't come and conquer North America. That's what so many of you seem to think, is that the Europeans just came over here and conquered the whole place, right? People that came over here actually purchased their land from the Native Americans. They made trade for property. They tried to move over here in a peaceful manner. And what they found was many different tribes who went to war with each other regularly. Tribes that were sometimes paranoid, sometimes not. If you did trade with one particular tribe, just because you traded with them, that made you an enemy with another tribe. And so you had a technologically regressed civilization who, for the last thousands of years before whites came over, commonly enslaved each other, commonly sold each other to each other. Women were property, unlike most of the things you hear where the Native Americans were this amazing, inclusive group that treated everybody equal, or whatever Disney movie you've watched that made you think that. That's not to say there weren't some Native American tribes that governed differently and treated members of their tribe differently. There were some, actually. The more northern, more remote tribes, like the Inuits, for example, probably were very culturally inclusive, if that's such a word. But the more south into the Prime Territory you went, where, the eastern seaboard of the United States was filled with different tribes that were constantly warring with each other and constantly infighting and constantly killing each other. But no! Native Americans were all these happy people that lived off the land. Then there's also this other fallacy that us evil whites came over here and killed all the buffalo. Well, we did kill all the buffalo, right? We used repeaters, we used weapons that were able to mow down these buffalo herds, and we almost completely destroyed the buffalo from existence. That's on us. That's on the evil whites. But prior to that, Native Americans were responsible for hunting many species out of existence, but nobody talks about that. Because that's not history that people want to talk about. For some reason, there's this apology culture amongst white Anglo-Saxons or other white groups. I think even the Australians have a bit of an apology problem when it comes to dealing with their native indigenous people that were where they were before they showed up. So history always tends to forget all of the horrible things that the cultures that were beaten did, like how the conquistadors came over and wiped out the Mayans, the 500 conquistadors that came over and wiped out a civilization that had over 250,000 warriors. 500 people versus 250,000 warriors. How the hell does that happen? You know how that happens? Because the Mayans constantly sacrificed people to their gods. They ripped hearts out of chests of people while they were alive. This was a very crazy group. And what happened? Mayans were like, white people with fancy boomsticks that want gold, and they think our leaders are crazy for ripping the hearts out of people who are alive's chests and eating each other. They think cannibalism is appalling. These guys are pretty cool. And there was massive waves of Mayans who basically deserted and rose up against their leadership and joined in with the Incans, or not the Incans, joined on with the conquistadors, who just happened to show up there and search for gold and stuff, right? That's why they were over there. They were literally searching for gold. And here this civilization has all kinds of gold and a whole lot of people that are upset. And so yeah, the conquistadors helped change a little bit of the evil barbaric ways, utilizing their boomsticks and the hordes of people that jumped in and went alongside their banner against their fellow countrymen because their fellow countrymen were so barbaric. They were eating each other. They were ripping hearts out of each other's chests. But that's not the story we get told. We get told about how the conquistadors went over there and killed all the Mayans. History seems to forget about everything that happens before the people who win start writing the history, right? So there are times when the people that win write out some really appalling things. There are appalling things that the U.S. has done to Native Americans. This is true. This is very true. But Thanksgiving certainly wasn't one of those times. And then the last thing you really should remember about Thanksgiving and the U.S. in general is that most Native Americans, to include my ancestors, willfully joined the American culture. We willfully assimilated into the United States. There were some that didn't willfully assimilate, and there were some pretty terrible things that happened to them, sadly. But let's not forget about all of the travesties that Native Americans did to each other long before the white man ever showed up here. But you know, Thanksgiving, it's this horribly racist day. Give me a fucking break, people. Really? If you want to talk about real history, then go learn real history. Anyway, I've rambled enough. It's time to get back to the game, right? So, we have just recently won our re-election. This is our second term starting as congressman, and let's see what we can do in our second term. So, just jumping in here. Let's see, what can we do right now? Anything? No, I'm just gonna hit next turn. Okay, here we got a pop-up. The following staff members have retired. Press secretary and a event manager. Huh. I don't have a staff tab. I can't affect that. Whoa. OBS is not playing with the ball here. Okay, so for whatever reason, OBS hates this game, and that's why I'm having to record it as a screen capture. I can't get it to actually record the game in any other way, and even while I'm playing the game, OBS tends to bleed through every now and then and cause things to go wonky. Okay, it's the parade. The crazy parade. It's a Thanksgiving Day parade. Oh, how fitting. I just went on about Thanksgiving, and we're going to attend a Thanksgiving Day parade in game. Yeah, that sounds fun. You get up early in the morning so you can get a good position along the parade route. The early morning sun warms your face as you enter the cool autumn air. You approach a crowd lined up along the street, hearing the enthusiasm in their voices as they eagerly await the start of the parade. Some individuals in the crowd recognize you and come forward to shake your hand. You engage in some small talk, remark about the weather, and eventually everyone turns to watch the parade. Floats pass by. You listen to the marching band playing familiar tunes. It's an overall enjoyable experience. Now you can return home for a pleasant Thanksgiving dinner. Alright, what do we got here? In 2023, the following election will take place. School boards, city council, mayor, the presidential election campaign will begin next year. President Josh Byrd has reached the the presidential term limit and will not be seeking re-election. After 2 weeks, you can see which incumbent will not seek re-election by viewing the district tab within the political menu. If the incumbent is not running for re-election, it will say so under the district. Senate retirement notifications can be found in the national news page under the news tab. Your schedule is currently empty. Let's fill our schedule here. Let's go find the contacts tab. And maybe somebody in our contacts tab wants to let us do some speeches. Hey, it's the Retiree Association. Yeah, they'll let me give a speech. Yeah, we're just gonna scour the state doing speeches on behalf of the old folks, talking about how they love Medicaid, which, don't tell them, but I'm not a huge fan of Medicaid. But they don't know that yet, so as long as they want to keep trusting me, we're up to 66% trust with them, all is good. Alright, welcome to your new term as U.S. House of Representative member. Sweet. I can select some committees. So there's some new committees that are open to me, which is interesting because I actually don't remember ever doing anything in my committee in the first term. The committees I selected absolutely never had any bearing or relevance on the game. So, will any of these committees actually have any type of relevance on the game? I'm curious to find that out. So, which ones can we join now? So originally we were limited to Veterans Affairs Committee, Oversight and Government Reform, and the Judiciary Committee. Now we can select Education and Workforce as well as Agriculture. We can also select the Financial Service Committee and the Energy and Commerce Committee, which I'm kind of interested in the Energy and Commerce Committee, I think. The House and Energy and Commerce Committee has jurisdiction over a wide variety of areas, including healthcare, energy programs, and the environment. This committee has jurisdiction over Medicaid, but does not have jurisdiction over Medicare, since Medicare has a payroll tax element, placing it within the jurisdiction of the Ways and Means Committee. Energy programs. Yeah, we'll join that committee. Financial services doesn't sound interesting. The House Education and Workforce Committee is responsible for educational policy and workforce programs such as high school equivalency training for unemployed. Nah. The House Oversight and Government Reform Committee oversees the investigation and regulation of government agencies and programs. We'll go with that one. Oversight and Government Reform, which we were already a part of. So those are the two committees we'll select. Select your subcommittee. Energy and power. That's really the part I'm most interested in here. And then the healthcare benefits and administrative rules. Select subcommittee chair. Wait, am I going to become a subcommittee chair? Excellent. Introduction to the caucus leader. Welcome to your new term as a member of Congress. I'm glad you're part of our caucus. I will be the chair of the caucus this year. Whenever new legislation comes to the floor, I will let you know my opinion about the legislation. Bart Dane. I'm dedicated to representing the interests of our caucus and the constituents that represent it, Bart. So it's up to the constituents, not up to you to tell me what to do. And party leadership. Welcome to the new term as member of Congress. I will be your party leader this session. Whenever new legislation comes to the floor, I will let you know the party's position on legislation. I will do my best to represent the will of my constituents, even if that means diverging from the party platform. I hope you understand. You have unfilled protege slots. To select new proteges, you can go to the protege tab. Okay, I suppose. Let's go to City Council. Groover Cooper or Donovan Blake. Donovan's pretty old. Groover Cooper is... I don't know. I don't like his look. He's got beady eyes. Let's check somebody else. How about school board? We got an old woman. We got an old guy. And the 44-year-old has a big forehead. Yeah, no, none of them. I need a young, fresh protege. How about the State House? What district am I part of? Districts. I am part of State House District 74. Old people again. No old people. Alright. So I just clicked on City Council again and it's given me new younger people. So let's go with the Samson Kuznetsov. Sounds kind of Russian to me. I don't know. I'll take him anyway. He's 23. He's got glasses. His eyes aren't so beady. Yeah, he could be a protege. Alright, that's enough proteges, I think. All right, I need to increase the minimum wage because I ran on the promise I was going to increase minimum wage. It's the first week of our term, so it's time to follow through. Okay, minimum wage, where are you? Poverty, probably. Yep, there we are. A minimum wage is the lowest hourly wage that an employer is permitted to pay an employee. The intention of a minimum wage is to reduce poverty. All right, let's see if we can't increase things by an entire $1. Your legislation has successfully been submitted and is on its way to becoming law. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, shall we? It still needs to be voted into existence. I just have presented it. Chairperson Luciano Elizondo has denied the bill a hearing. It will not become a law. The bill has been assigned to the House Education and Workforce Committee. James Johnson has submitted a bill for consideration. Ha. Well, if you're going to deny it at $9, maybe you'll accept it at $8.50. Let's try this again. Yeah, we'll go $8.75. Vote on budget resolution. Yeah, we got to take care of that. Wait, what's this? Propose income tax revenue decrease of $69 billion. Propose corporate tax revenue decrease of $38 billion. Why are we trying to decrease taxes here? I got to oppose this, I think. Your bill, H.R. 2, has been assigned to the House Education and Workforce Committee. Chairperson Luciano Elizondo has denied your bill a hearing. Education and Workforce. Is that a damn committee I could have been a part of? I'm starting to feel like maybe I should have been a part of it. What can I do here? Luciano Elizondo. Yeah, it's definitely a committee I could have been part of. Probably even chair of. Huh. How am I going to get this through? Minimum wage, take 3. $8.50 instead of $8.75. Your bill HR3 has been assigned. Chairperson Luciano Elizondo has denied your bill a hearing. You have failed to complete the following challenge. Constituent request legalize recreational drug use. I don't know how I'm going to get this minimum wage off the ground. Maybe 8.25 will work. Denied my bill again. The bastard! I'm gonna fail my constituents. I tried. I've put it up 4 times. 4 times it's been denied. HR9 foster care. I will support this legislation. Why am I not seeing this legislation? Edgar Goodman has submitted new legislation titled Public Housing Summary. I'm not seeing anything here. Alright, here's some stuff has popped up. Okay. Something to do, since I can't seem to actually pass my own legislation. Floor debate, H.R. 7, Social Security. Legislation, H.R. 7, Social Security, sponsored Dorian Salgado. Description, provides stable income to retirees. Income is provided by revenue from payroll tax. Legislation proposal, increase Social Security eligibility age from 66 to 68. Yeah. We need to reduce Social Security expenditure in order to keep it financially sustainable. I may support this legislation or I may oppose it. That's a tricky way to get her to, I suppose, try to get more legs out of Social Security. I kind of like it. We have to be real here. Social Security is a problem. We robbed from the cookie jar too many times, and now we don't have enough money in Social Security to actually pay the people who've paid into it. So we got to do something to make up the difference, and that seems like a viable way of doing it. So I might support it. So that's H.R. 7. Party leadership would like you to support H.R. 7 in its current state. Message from caucus leader. I want you to support H.R. 7 in its current state. I'm not going to try to amend H.R. 7. I like it in its current state, I think. There's amendment vote on H.R. 7, though, so somebody else didn't like it. What is this? Increase Social Security payroll tax from 5.1 to 5.2%. Really? So the Democrats are like, well, if you're going to make it so you have to wait 2 years in order to get it, then make it pay more. I oppose. President opposes H.R. 7. That's to be assumed. Speaker of the House supports H.R. 7. We're in the majority this time around. Sweet. Caucus leaders support H.R. 7. Alright. Support. H.R. 7 is going through and it's going to the Senate. Is the Senate majority Republican? I haven't checked. I think I'm going to go check. What is the Senate like this time around? The Senate is indeed majority Republican. Alright, we got the House and the Senate. We might actually get some stuff done. Alright, floor debate, H.9, foster care. Sponsor, Dorian Salgado. Description, foster care is a system in which orphaned or neglected children are placed with a foster family until they are adopted or restored to their family. This program uses federal funds to help states provide foster care service. Legislation proposal. Decrease funding from 64.4% to 49%. We cannot afford this program. We must reduce expenditure. I will be voting in favor of this legislation. This legislation will reduce access to foster care, which I believe is wrong. I hope my colleagues will join me in opposing this legislation. Okay, we've opposed the amendment. Bill has passed. Campaign promise, increase minimum wage. Write legislation that increases the national minimum wage. Challenge complete. Pass it. Challenge not complete. Okay, so I got a little bit of a reward from that. The heck? I swear I changed the visa limit from 55,000 last year down to 39,000 for diversity immigration. Why is it back to 55,000? Does it just automatically reset these values every single time? If so, annoying. Public housing. Alcohol tax. Support them both, according to the party leader in caucuses. H.R. 8 alcohol tax. The alcohol tax is a tax levied against alcohol products. Legislation proposal. Decrease the tax rate from 1.23 per gallon to 1.21 per gallon. That's so minute. But, okay. The old tax rate is too high. We should decrease it. I really believe that this legislation will have great effects. On what? And I expect others agree with me in supporting this legislation. The old tax rate is too high. We should decrease it. I'll be voting in favor of this legislation. Says the Democrats. They're in agreement here. I mean, changing something 0.2 of a penny seems pointless, but why not? Okay, floor debate. S1, public housing. Helps provide affordable housing to low-income individuals and families by having the government pay a percentage of an individual or family's rent. Legislation proposal. Decrease eligibility rate from 15% of the poverty level to 13.5% of the poverty level. Didn't we do this last year? Okay, us Republicans are just rolling stuff through. Alright. Support HR9. It passed! Woohoo! Renewable energy. A clean tomorrow. Your legislation, H.R. 11, has been approved by the Senate with a vote of 100 to nothing. Every senator voted in favor of my renewable energy proposal. Sweet. President Josh Byrd vetoed my bill H.R. 10. Of course he did. President Josh Byrd signed your bill H.R. 11 into law. Okay, so we got the renewable energy through. Let's try minimum wage again. How about a 10-cent minimum raise wage? Upkeep. Or 10-cent raise. How about that? Denied my bill. All right, defense appropriations. We'll go in and try to lower the appropriations budget, and I'm sure we'll fail at this. I once again have taken lots of money away from the budget of the Commerce and Justice Department. Next, I will take a bunch of money away from Homeland. And next, I get to take money away from labor and health. Oh, but this is the one that they don't ever allow me to actually get away with altering. It always gets rejected. Alright, I'm going to do very marginal changes to only like half the line items. Which is creating a savings of, we're not even talking in the billions, we're talking 900 million, which is pocket change in most of these, so no support. And now Veteran Affairs, where I won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And Transportation, where I get to cut it down to size. Watch the Democratic presidential debate primary. I don't feel like it. Alright, you currently have no messages. Floor debate, HR 25, minimum wage. How did that make it to the floor after I tried to get it to the floor I don't know how many times? You're lowering it. Oh my god. Alright, I'm going to use your attempt to lower the minimum wage, and I'm going to amend your bill to raise it by 5 cents. And I managed to get it through. I love it. Oh, cannabis legality. I didn't even try to put it through this year. I forgot about it. This legislation specifies whether the sale or possession of cannabis should be legal or illegal. Legislation proposal: legalize the sale of cannabis. Excellent. The President supports HR 26. Excellent. Message from the Speaker of the House. He wants to oppose HR 26. Message from Caucus Leader. He too wants to oppose HR 26. I support HR 26, even if it doesn't agree with my fellow Republicans. And so does everybody else. Through the house we go. President Josh Bird has signed H.R. 25 into law. Minimum wage summary of law increases minimum wage from $8 to $8.05. Did that get me my... Where is it here? Yep, I managed to raise minimum wage. Granted, a nickel isn't a huge raise, but seeing as I couldn't get a bill through and then had to actually alter somebody else's bill that was trying to decrease minimum wage to get a nickel, I think is a win at this point. Okay, reduce the national deficit. I'm trying. Alright, national laws taking effect this year. H.R. 11, Renewable Energy Tax Credit. Sponsored by yours truly. And H.R. 25, Minimum Wage Increase, amended by yours truly. So both of the laws that made it into effect this year were touched by yours truly. did not manage to reduce the national deficit. What was it at? Yeah, quite a bit more than what I was aiming at. Goddamn military and health that I can't freaking manage to change. Alright, so where are we with this video? We are an hour and a half in. So that seems long enough. We've just gotten to the end of the first year, basically, of our second term. And as a congressman, we have to keep running every 2 years. So we're already campaigning. It's year 2 of our second term, and we're already campaigning for our third term. So yeah, that's where we're at here. Should I at some point try to switch over to the Senate? Should I make a run at governor? Should I go for president? It would be kind of cool to get maybe elected Speaker of the House. Though I think I'm still a few terms away from making Speaker. I might be able to get on one of the more elite committees and maybe get close to being a chair of one of them. That would be cool. But at that point, I'm not that far from becoming Speaker, though, too. So maybe go till I hit Speaker and try then to get President after becoming Speaker. Might be a ticket. Might be a way to go. But for now, we are solidly entrenched in the Republican Party. We're up to 12,707 political points, which how does that make us relate compared to our peers? And not in the Senate, in the House. Okay, House rankings, current. So we are not in the top 10 of the House yet. Not even close, actually. So it's too bad I can't go further. The list doesn't really show any lower than this. Currently 22,765 is number 10. With number 1 being at 55,000. So there's a pretty big gap between 1 and 10. But the gap between 10, 9, 8, 7 isn't huge. So 7 is like 23,240 to 22,765. So one would think there's probably a lot of senators in the 20,000, or not senators, congressmen, in the 20,000s, 19,000s, 18,000s, 17,000. So I'm still a fairly junior congressman yet, even if I have managed to somehow wrangle myself a subcommittee chair. It's not for a very important committee, so yeah, there's that. Anyway, I'm James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. And until the next time, all, peace.